let's work on some bugs. All right. So the first thing that we have is that users can edit their username and email to match one that already exists in the database. Okay. So I think we'll go ahead and work on that now. So the first thing that I would do is I'd go to account details and I would see that I can edit my email and I can edit my username. Okay. So I am going to go and find this route here, which is going to be something about update. Change account detail. Okay. And I'm going to go take a look at the code in the detail. All right, so we are first getting the user, okay? Then we are checking if the account is password so that we can hash it first. Otherwise, we are just setting it, okay? So I think what we want to do is also add some sort of checking if the field is username or a password, and then going and searching if that exists, okay? So we're gonna say else if account detail.d2.field is equal to username, and I'm going to do this. Okay, if the field is equal to username, then we are going to look if username already exists. If it does, throw error. All right, then we will have else if account detail.dto.field is equal to email. All right, and then we'll add our else block there, and we will look if email already exists, and then we'll say if it does, throw error. All right, so this is going to be kind of our pseudocode for this example. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at just when I create my account, because we should already have this logic in there. If not, this is another bug. So I'm going to head back to my controller and I'm going to see sign up, and I'm going to go follow that route now. Okay, so if you look here, we have whether or not username exists, whether or not email exists, okay? So what I can actually do is I could take this out here, okay, and I could make this its own function to see. Kind of like how hash password is its own function and create access token. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say async check if check if username. I'm trying to figure out how to name this because I feel like I want to keep with like this thing about verb and then what we're doing. So maybe we're going to say verify unique username, and we would pass in a username, which would be a string, and we would want to return a boolean. Okay, so we would say await this dot users service dot find user by username, and then we're going to put in username, and then we're going to say if username, then we're going to return true. Otherwise, we are going to return false. Okay. So instead of here, we can say verify So we're going to say const user. Okay, so then we're going to say if user dot username return true, otherwise return false. Okay, so then here we are going to take this out. I'm not sure about the question mark if I need it there or not, so we're going to do a quick test, and then we're going to say this dot verify unique username, and then we're going to pass in signup.gto dot username. Then we are going to do console.log username exists, and we will do username exists. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out, and I'm going to test this by creating an account. Okay. So I'm going to create an account as me, and I already exist. So it should say true, and it is a promise, which means we did not await. So we say await. Okay, I'm gonna pull up my database and see what just happened, because I didn't watch my screen if it erred or not. All right, but it looks like it didn't add me again, so I'm going to assume that it threw the error. Okay, so let's try that again. So do Callie at gmail.com. Stroska. We can do not the same email because we're not testing right now whether the email exists. We are just testing whether the username already exists. So if we press submit, it says we can't create the account, and because the username exists is true. Okay, so that works. It goes ahead and does it. Except the naming is not right because this is okay, so we're actually going to say, instead of username exists, we're going to say is unique username, and then we're going to say if not unique, if not is unique username. Okay, then we throw all right, and the error there. So we're going to say is unique username. All right, so now let's actually do a unique username. So we're going to do daisyduck at gmail.com, daisyduck, test1234, test1234, submit. All right, so yep, so then we do have this issue where we need to add the question mark. All right, so let's try this again. daisyduck at gmail.com, daisyduck, test124, test124. All right, username exists, false, but still weren't able to create is unique. Okay, now I'm confused. I think I've mixed this up too much. Okay, so we weren't able to add it. Let's take a look. So if we find the username, so we actually need this to be if we don't have the username, return true because it is unique then. All right, I switched all the logic up and got myself all confused. All right, let's try again. So daisy at gmail.com, daisy test. All right, submit. Username exists, true, but really this is going to be username is unique is the descriptor, and we have Daisy signed up, and we have Daisy signed up. Okay, so now let's log out and let's try to create Daisy again and see what happens. So let's go to create an account, and we're going to do daisy at gmail.com, daisy, and we're going to submit, error, username is unique, false. Okay, perfect. Let's go and see if we console logged the error here, and we get bad request, which is good because that is what we are looking for, is we had throw a bad request here. Okay, so we have this one kind of hashed out. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and copy this function, and we're going to do another one. We're going to say verify unique email, and we're going to pass in an email, and then we are going to find user by email and then pass in the email. So then we're going to say if user not, so if we can't find, if the user doesn't have an email, then we will return true because it's unique. Otherwise, we'll return false. Okay, so we need to switch this around a little bit. So we are going to do, instead, we're going to say await this dot verify unique email and then pass in the email. And we are going to write this instead as is unique email. And then we're going to say if it's not a unique email, throw the bad request. Okay? So I am going to then go ahead and console log is unique email. I've also written unique too many times that now it's lost meaning to me. So when I'm looking at it, it looks like I'm spelling it wrong, and honestly, I'm not sure anymore. Okay, so we have Daisy at daisy.com, or at gmail.com. So let's go ahead and try to put in Daisy at gmail.com again. And I'm gonna change the username because the username is checked first. So we have to have a different username in order to test that the email will get hit. And is unique email false, and we erred. Okay, but now let's try doing Donald Duck at gmail.com, Donald Duck, test 124, test 124, submit, and Donald Duck works. It is unique, and I'm refreshing my database right now. Pull it up. Donald Duck is here. All right, I'm going to delete Daisy because she doesn't match the way I'm naming my Disney characters, so I don't want to forget what her passwords are and stuff. Okay, so now that we have the sign up fixed and using these two verified functions, we can then do the same thing and kind of replicate the process in our change account details. Okay, so we're going to say const is unique username is going to be equal to the, await this dot verify unique username, and then we are going to pass in account detail DTO dot value. Okay, so then we can go ahead and say if not is unique username, then we will, and then we're going to go up, and I am going to just actually take this whole thing and I'm going to paste it in here. All right, then I'm going to do the same thing for my password or my email. I am going to say const is unique email is going to be equal to await this dot verify unique email, and then I'm going to pass in account detail.dto dot value, and then I'm going to I don't know why I did that. My brain is all over the place today. All right, and then I'm going to say if not is unique email, then we are going to throw a new bad request that says the email already exists. All right, otherwise, right, if it's not any of that, then we can go ahead and add it. Okay, but I don't think we're gonna have otherwise because what are the account details we can change? We can change name. All right, so we still have to add that in there then. So I think what we want to do is not have this otherwise. Okay, and we're just going to, except that messes up the password. All right, so we're just gonna have to be a little bit repetitive in our code to make it work right now, and then we can always go back and make it better afterwards. But let's go ahead and make sure it works first. Okay, so Donald Duck. If we look in our database, we have Mickey Mouse as also a user. Okay, so we can, so I'm going to go ahead and console log here is unique username, and then I'm going to console log the value too. Okay, so when I go to Donald Duck and I change this to Mickey Mouse and then hit, it errors because we have false. Okay, but you can see that then we have an issue on the front end. So I'm going to refresh, and you see how it changes back to Donald Duck because it never actually changed in the database. It just changed on the front end. Okay, so we need to check that out. Okay, all right, but let's try Mickey Mouse here and make sure we err. So I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to change this to email, and I'm going to change this to email, and then let's save this. We get an error because it's not a unique email, and then let's refresh and it says Donald Duck. Okay, so I think we fixed the problem on the back end. Okay, let's go ahead and test a non. So I'm going to change it to dduck for the username, right? We don't have that one. So yay, it updated it. If I refresh my page, dduck stays. I'm going to change this to dduck@gmail.com. That doesn't exist in our database. If I change it, perfect, it updates, and I refresh my page. So then if I log out, I should be able to use dduck and test 1, 2, 3, 4, and we sign in. So let's go back and change it back to Donald Duck. And let's change this back to Donald Duck. All right, but let's go ahead and look on the front end and try to figure out the error, the issue that we're having here. Okay. So on the front end, this will be on the profile page. And let's take a look. We have user detail row. So let's go to not the type definition. Let's go to the definition of this component. And we have on click check. Okay, so we have if field is email, we're checking the validation. Okay, token. Error, we're console logging the error. Okay, and we're doing the toast, but we've already updated the field on the front end, so we're gonna need to look into that. Okay, so if field is equal to email, set value state. Value state is equal to value. Okay, let's go look at what's in the actual fields. It's been a while since I looked at this. All right, so if it's password, it's going to be that. Otherwise, it's going to be value state. So let's go ahead and look. All right, we're posting value state. set value state equal to the value that's coming in. So I think we might just need to add this like this. Let me try it. Okay, so Mickey Mouse was the issue, right? We click, okay, perfect. All right, so what we're doing basically is if you look in here, the text right here is being set to whatever this value state is. So my value state, okay, starts out as the value that's passed into the component, which is from the back end, okay? On change, I'm setting the value state, okay? And that is what is getting shown in the input and the input value and the text value, okay? The issue is when I error in the database, I don't want it to be whatever I typed in, right? I want it to go back to what it was originally. So that's why we need to set the value state back to the original value that's passed in. Okay, so let's test it on this one too. So set it as mickeymouse@gmail.com, and we are going to set, there's an error, please review your values and try again. Okay, that works. I think that in terms of messaging, I would want to like look into more. Can I have messaging saying like that username already exists, or is that a potential security issue? So I'm going to keep the messaging, the error messaging, pretty vague right now, and I will have to do research later and figure out if that's something that we can change. All right, so that is going to be kind of wrapping up fixing this bug, which if we look is going to be users can edit their username and email to match one that already exists in the database. All right, they cannot do that anymore, so we are going to go ahead and move this over to done. All right, and we will keep on bug bashing in our next video. See you later.